Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton, trying something brand new this week with a full video edition of the podcast. Today, we welcome Xavier and Vincent Morency from Second Harbour to the podcast. Second Harbour released their SharpTone Records debut, Coalesce, last week. The guys talk about the music scene in Montreal, being a band where every member plays multiple instruments, what did and did not influence the band's sound, signing with SharpTone Records, and a lot more. It was so much fun getting to chat with Xavier and Vincent, and I hope you guys enjoy this chat. If you dig the full video episode, leave a comment. Let me know if you want more of these. Thanks so much for watching this episode of As the Story Grows. If you're brand new to the podcast, welcome. You can find links in the show notes or over at asthestorygrows.com, where we host the full audio version of the podcast, to our Discord server, our mailing list on Substack, and our Patreon page, where $1 a month will get you early access to every episode. And if you aren't subscribed and like this episode, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast here on YouTube or on your podcast platform of choice if you just prefer the audio version. Enjoy today's conversation with Xavier and Vincent from Second Harbour. What's the weather currently like? You guys are up in Montreal, right?
Oh yeah, forget about it. It's way too much snow and minus 18 Celsius right now, so absolutely freezing.
I don't know what that translates to Fahrenheit, but that sounds really fucking cold.
Basically, the translation is really fucking cold.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, like, I looked it up, and I think it was recently, it was like 40 Fahrenheit was like pretty around what it was.
Okay.
And then between 30 and 40, which sounds like pretty cold. But that's during the day. During the night, I'm pretty sure it was 18 Fahrenheit.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is, a little cold.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just north of Washington, D.C., so the weather is basically the same here. So we got snow today too. So
Damn.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. I've talked to a handful of bands from Canada, a bunch of bands from Toronto, a bunch from like the Vancouver area, but nobody from Montreal. So you're the first. You get to check that box off. I don't know anything about Montreal other than the Canadians, right? So like, and then like just north, like the Lava Rockets, right, in the AHL. So like, what's Montreal like? What's growing up in Montreal like?
Funny enough, we're Pittsburgh Penguins fans, so we're not even Habs fans.
Oh no, that's even worse. Oh.
But yeah, no, Montreal, it's a great city. It's quite diverse, especially since there's like, language barrier. It kind of it's like oddly filled with a lot of languages.
Okay.
Like there's just a lot of people, and so I guess the music scene, the reason like a lot of people don't hear about it as much is because it's very like different languages and whatnot. Yeah. So it's very mixed. But yeah, there's a really great like hardcore and metal scene, especially here. Like that's really like the strong point of the city, I'd say, for music. Nice. Is that like there's no like a hardcore band could be like really on the smaller side and they'll sell out every show. Like it's just like that scene is really, really popping here. But
besides that too, just music aside, Montreal, is lovely. It can be lovely weather-wise. November to December is lovely weather-wise. January to March isn't so, because then it's just muddy snow instead of the nice snow.
Yeah.
So that's not as great. But I mean, it's just it can be a beautiful place, especially if you know where to look. And it's a nice, fun, more so secluded place in the States. We played our first States tour ever. Just a couple weeks ago with Bearings, which are also Canadian guys, and that was super fun. And the States, the coolest difference for us is it's so filled with people. Like the smallest, Walmart or gas station there, you can have 100 people. And we're like, oh my god.
Yeah, you drive an hour out from Montreal, there's nothing there.
That's the thing I hear from like Canadian bands a lot is like you have your cities, but like the drive from place to place is like unbearable.
There's nothing there. It's like just forest for hours, and there's
Yeah.
literally nothing. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, we played Quebec once, like Quebec City, which is a couple hour drive from Montreal, and the drive there at night, there is literally like it's just one highway, but it's flat, and there are no lights on the way. So, and there are almost no vehicles because it's not at like the drive there. There's nobody in the middle, So if there are no vehicles that you see, it's literally just pitch black in your lights for hours and hours.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. But I mean, there are spots like that here too. I drove across country once, and there's like you hit Texas, and it's like it's flat desert, and you can just see for miles and miles ahead of you, and it's just like it's terrible.
The worst.
A relatable experience. As brothers, like, I mean, how much did you grow up kind of with similar interest, and whether that's music or just like, I don't know, sports or, TV shows? Like, how much similar interest was there? Was there a lot of just like fighting, and like it took a while to come together on like this thing you love?
There's definitely fighting, but I mean, we are as far as siblings go, I think we're pretty much as close as it gets. We still live together now. Him and I were roommates. We spend all our time together. All our off time is spent together. Practically, yeah. It's really just all movies. We have the same, interests as far as shows. Same thing. Any video games, anything. Like all interests are really pretty much the same across.
We kind of act like twins. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe we give off, I think. But yeah, I mean, we still do like fight a lot, but I think now it'll be more, artistically, and it'll be a practical fight is how I'd call it, where it's, kind of has like its ways in our creative work where, it's good to argue about things. It's good to argue about art and fight about it and try to get the best result out of it, because that's what everybody wants at the end of the day, So it's like when you have those moments where there's more tense things, it's like there's a big difference between having a fight about something like that versus something else like that. When we fight about the art, it has a purpose, and then 10 minutes later, it's like, it's fun. You go back to doing whatever we were doing, So, yeah, it's just a mix of both those things, I think, that were like incorporated in aspects of like all aspects of our lives, but good and bad, it all works out, I think.
Yeah, and to answer the other part of the question, when we were growing up, I just started playing music, and then because he was, my best friend, my brother, and everything, it was just, all right, what instrument are you picking up? And then he was like, oh,
I was just bored.
So that's how you grow a bass player. Is you just give him a bass and then go from there.
Our dad was very much a big music guy, so we'd always have like on TV, like there was this Canadian channel called Loud Video Flow
160.
Yeah, and it was just like literally music videos like all day. And they had like, at the time, like Avenged Sevenfold, Blink-182, like all those. So we got like a pretty wide range of like music taste that kind of created like our whole world of what we appreciate in music. Like one of the biggest shout outs would be like Billy Talent. Like for us, Billy Talent, like the first like real alternative band that we got into. Like I was like 4 or 5 years old, like listening to their record all day. So that's like the band for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Was that kind of your gateway because the hardcore punk scene was on TV? Was that your gateway into discovery?
Yeah. Absolutely. It was like, it just looked like so cool. You were like, I will do anything to become this. And especially at the same time, Guitar Hero came out, which was like, I think that's a story for a lot of people our age, where it was just like, there were so many things where it was like, oh, I'm watching TV and that's happening and it's cool. And then when I'm playing video games, it's the same thing. So it was like kind of starting to be, as a kid, it was like, that's the whole world really. So, there's just like always a part of me that was like, oh, I wish I could do that. And then when he started doing it, there's definitely a tiny bit of like boredom and then a little bit of jealousy of like, wait, he's doing it and it does look cool.
Yeah.
I do this too. And, picked up bass, not as impressive, I guess, but
yes, I mean Blink was our first love for sure, specifically, and then I think Billy Talent was our sort of introduction into like, oh
yeah, the more
you can do Blink-182, but a little heavier,
a little angrier,
a little meaner. Yeah. So I think, yeah, those two bands were very formative for us.
Nice. Because you had this built-in connection, like at what point are you like, okay, we're good enough, we need to find a drummer now?
Well, funny enough, I mean,
Yeah.
I was the drummer
Oh,
growing
okay.
up, and to some degree behind the scenes, I still am. And Vinny's our guitarist, and our drummer is actually our bass behind the scenes. We rotate, and it's the weirdest
Yeah,
thing
we're a
in the
very
world.
chaotic band.
Yeah, Vinny writes probably half of the guitars easily on our stuff, and I write still the majority of the drums. John writes a lot of the bass.
Okay.
We you all literally just when we sit down, usually our starting positions will be I will sit down on the kit, and then Vince will grab a guitar and John will grab a bass, which is the weirdest thing. And I think people would be shocked as to what parts have been recorded by who.
Yeah.
Besides vocals, things swap around a lot.
And I think I'd be surprised too because I can't remember at all.
Yeah. It's very in the moment and very messy, but it works for us. And then yeah, it's a very unusual process, I'm sure. But so yeah, starting off, we were just a sort of drum and bass kind of duo,
Yes.
if you will. Not doing drum and bass kind of music, but just
Yeah.
Just all rhythms.
exactly. And then and it was about we were in a position where we grew up in a house when we were younger, and then typical parent divorce, and then it's like, oh, where do we go from here? And then we were in an apartment, and so the drums had to take a back seat, and then we both picked up guitar. And then after that, when we got a little bit older, we were able to start, renting spaces to rehearse in, and it was like, okay, cool. And even we got lucky, and I think it was the third apartment we lived in. We switched around a lot. We had these elderly neighbors that were so kind, and I think partially deaf, and they let us play drums in an apartment.
Nice.
Like we just
Real
asked,
drums.
and they were just like, "Yeah, do whatever you want. It's
And
cool.
so-
Don't worry about it."
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
moment where it was like, okay, cool. So we can bring drums back, and then at that point, we both knew how to play guitar. So him and I would rotate and just try things and start piecing songs together. And we did all of our first things just as like a duo. We had these old songs we had put out a long time ago. Then we had our first song, is Second Harbour, 4-Leaf Clover, where it was still just him and I as a duo. And there's an old video, and I'm playing drums and guitar in the video, and then Vince is playing bass. And yeah, from there, at some point, we eventually started to look for a member, and we were fortunate enough to find John, which is, I mean, he's one of the greatest drummers, and just I spent my entire life drumming, and I'm so fortunate to be able to, write this part that'll take me hours to come up with, and then just show it to him in a matter of seconds. Say, oh, cool, I got it. And it's like, what do you mean? I just spent 3 hours learning to do this thing. He's like, okay, cool, yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
No
like
worries.
I play like basic levels of drums. Like I'm nowhere near being called a drummer or anything like that. But like seeing these two talk about like rhythm things will throw you off so much if you're not like
Yeah.
a drummer, where you're just like you hear that, I'm like, oh, it's ututa instead of that, and it's like it takes like 10 seconds, and then they'll play like the most complicated fill ever, and it's just like conversations.
No problem.
I was just I was there for the whole conversation, but I did not understand a word,
Yeah, that's funny. It's got to be nice to have that level of everybody can kind of play and contribute on every instrument, where it's like if you're burnt out, you don't got riffs. It's that burden doesn't fall on you. Somebody else is bringing something, and it's like I can't figure out the drums to this part. Well, that's okay. I have this idea, and it's like
Exactly, and like
complete creative freedom.
everybody has like their strength and weaknesses, obviously. Like that's just like a natural thing, right? And like for example, Xavier on drums really like his hands are fast, and John his like feet are really fast. So it's like where they both have like this like dynamic range, and it gives us more of a range as a band. And it's like for guitar, he's better at like rhythms, like actual just rhythms, and it's like I'm good at finding those weird chords where your fingers are stretched as far as possible. And so it's like we just get this really wide range of available material because we're able to access more using like everybody's strengths.
Yeah, which is really cool because exactly. I mean, a lot of bands are fortunate they have 5, 6 people that somehow I don't even know how it would work, but work together, and somehow figure it out and make it work. But for us being a 3-piece, you'd think we'd be, understaffed in a sense, but it's like having 9 people because we do have our different takes as far as all 3 instruments, so we're able to like approach it differently. And so long as we have the brain power to do what we're attempting to, it might take a little more time because we are only 3, but like Vinny said, we have 3 drum perspectives, we have 3 bass perspectives, so throwing ideas, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of them, which is fun.
Yep. Looking at a map, you got the St. Lawrence River and the Prairies River up. Does the name of the band have anything to do with kind of an homage to Montreal or water or anything? Like,
the name of the band was just as random as it gets, really, honestly, just in our day, finding a band name. I mean, the band we grew up on had to have a number in it because of how difficult it was to name bands, and that was 30 years ago. So for us, trying to name a band was just the amount of bands we've seen that share band names with other people. We were just trying to have something that did not exist yet. And the amount of names we went through on a list, it must have been in the hundreds. Easily.
Yeah, I feel so bad, and that was like 5 years ago or whatever. Like I feel horrible for bands now. Like I can't even imagine trying to find a band name right now. There's nothing out there, especially people probably use like AI generated names now too. So it's like the list of names is like that doesn't exist. It's just, I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah, we just wanted something sort of in relation to a second home of sorts, and we were like, well, obviously a harbor is just the place for docking ships, but I mean, we were like, it kind of sounds cool, and then we liked the European/Canadian spelling of harbor. We were like, that looks nice.
So like our dad was always the type of person to like, when we'd have friends that were going through difficult situations or whatever, he'd be like, have them over, they can stay over, it's fine, no worries about it, so it's kind of like the idea, I guess, would be something like that, he was kind of just that type of person that he like kept people in and made sure everybody was good. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Shout out to
Dad. Shout out to her dad.
Shout out to Dad. How'd you guys get connected with SharpTone?
We actually, one of the lovely staff members there, one of the best team members at SharpTone, Sal, he reached out to us, he found us, and he was just the loveliest person instantly. A lot of people, when things start to grow, and we were fortunate enough to make that happen. We worked hard to work on our the reels we make and the small videos we make just to try and show our performances to as many people as possible. Yeah, we were fortunate enough to have one start to take off a little bit in comparison to our other videos and do pretty well. And it's just once something starts like that, like you won't necessarily hear from people for years and years, and then when you do start to hear from people, it's everyone all at once kind of thing. And we spoke to a lot of lovely people. Some of these people you can kind of tell just are running through the motions, or it's just about looking at numbers and sort of it making sense for them. And I get it, there is a business behind music, but with Sal it genuinely felt like, oh, we should just go hang out at a barbecue with Sal. And he understands what we're trying to do. He understands where we're trying to go. And the bands that they have at SharpTone, the bands that he's been involved in signing even prior to SharpTone and other labels, just he has an ear that's very much like our our ear and our taste. And so we were just really happy to be able to speak to someone who really got what we were doing. And so after a conversation with Sal, when we were in the place to make a decision for our band, it just seemed like the obvious place for us. And we were we were just thrilled looking at their roster and their work, the way they approach artists. And SharpTone is the kind of place where you look them up anywhere, you look them up on Reddit forums, on Google, anywhere, and you will not find any sort of message or recounting of a SharpTone story that's negative ever.
Not
Which
yet.
is yeah.
Yeah, they're just like one of those new age labels that's like, very, they're so supportive. They're creatively there with us. They're super like, and it's not that type of place where you're just gonna have like something and you make a call and they're like, yeah, we'll get back to you. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, you have concerns or you have an idea and it's like, cool, let's hop on a call, let's talk about it, flesh it out, figure it out. And it's just, yeah, it's been nothing but good things for us,
Yeah.
which is amazing. It's just like having the best support team to get you whatever you need to make your ideas what they need to be. So that it's before it used to be. I mean, it still is a lot of the work is in our hands in terms of like figuring stuff out, but there's such a comfort to being able to reach out and talk to them and get other opinions and whatnot. So it's no, they've been the best.
And the other greatest thing about SharpTone, from what I've heard, is not the case with most labels. Is we've spoken regularly. We've been on call. We were on call yesterday with our team. We speak with every member of the SharpTone team. There's no such thing as like a closed door policy with like, oh, you're never going to speak to the head of this division, or we speak to the entire ladder, regularly. So, and everyone's invested, everyone cares, everybody knows each other's names and our names.
I mean, they talk, they work a lot like we already did, like we were talking about before, about like where it's like everybody uses their biggest strengths and to their advantage. So it's like if we have an idea that'll work with somebody that's not regularly a part of, our calls or our team and whatnot, it's like they'll get that person into it. So it's very much like a similar kind of work.
Yeah.
So it feels like home to us because of that too, where it's like there's a comfort to that. It's like, okay, well, somebody's going to be honest and be like, oh, I'm not sure that this is like something I can do. And it's like, cool, then let's give it to this person instead to, make sure we have the greatest person that can do this, do it.
So yeah, even though they aren't, so they feel very much like a family run operation kind of thing, which is lovely for us because we are a family run band. So yeah, it's just a great fit with SharpTone.
Nice. This EP is called Coalesce. You guys have talked about Billy Talent. You've talked about Blink-182. I'm curious about other musical influences. Like when the first track kicks on, you hit the EP. It reminds me a lot of like They're Only Chasing Safety era Under Oath. And then but it quickly devolves from there. That's not like what the EP sounds like. So what other things are you like drawing musical influence from?
It's so funny because a lot of people have brought up the Under Oath thing, which is so funny. I can't say I've really listened to Under Oath.
Okay.
So funny, but we've heard that a bunch, so it must be true because we have heard that a lot. But I think that the reason, and I have talked to like our producer about this and whatnot too, because he's brought it up too. And I think that the thing that happened is we listen to older music a lot. And I think that the people that influenced us are the same things that influence bands like Under Oath. So I think that's kind of how we all like ended up in a place that might become like similar at times, is because like, for me, like my biggest bands are bands like The Cure. And so it's not like I'm so far from what we do, but there's still like a, alternative, dark, like nice chords and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm listening to pop punk or emo all the time. Like that's the genre I listen to the least, if anything. Like it's the biggest thing away for me. I'm way more likely to listen to Depeche Mode or something like that. Like that's what I spend my time listening to. But we end up, I guess, in a similar place because of the influences we had growing up.
Yeah, so pretty much every influence you would think, like another band that I've heard lovely things, obviously, and I know that they're one of the coolest bands. But like I can't say I've ever heard a Pierce the Veil song, which is almost just insane getting to this point in our life and our genre without having heard. And it's not for like, oh, I don't like this genre or I don't like these bands. I just literally don't know these bands because in Montreal, like the circles that listen to these, because it's such a, like our high schools here, for example, our high school had 1,000 people in it. which from what I hear in the States is just like it doesn't even exist. Like that's a homeschool has 1,000 people in the States.
That's probably an exaggeration. Where I live presently, yes, a high school of 1,000 people does not exist. But like where my wife grew up, there are high schools with way less people. So like
we're like really close to Montreal. We're like 20 minutes out of Montreal.
Sure.
20 with like 1,000 people. So that's like that's crazy.
Yeah, that's more I was going with. Like exactly, we're not in a tiny town.
Yeah.
If you're 20 minutes out of New York City, like there's no reason for there to be a school with 1,000 people.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, our biggest college here, which is the one that we both went to, I think has 9,000 or 10,000 people. That's the biggest one, like a biggest one within hours. So before like Toronto,
finding similar people is a difficult thing to do in terms of like finding somebody who's, because if you have like a class of like 30 people, there might be one other person that listens to alternative music, right? So it's like if you make those numbers even smaller, the margins obviously become smaller.
Exactly. So just we didn't get to grow up in those circles, and it was sort of growing up with what was really out there at the time, like the more mainstream stuff, which was Blink, and then branching off of Blink, well, specifically self-titled Blink, which was our thing and still is our thing. And because it's their more post-hardcore side. I mean, the reason we have Relative is definitely because of that song Obvious by Blink, which is, it's not that it sounds alike, but it's the idea that like, oh, you can drop your tuning a little bit and still sound melodic. And that was kind of that, like, all right, cool, let's do that. So there's post-hardcore Blink, which branched off into Boxcar Racer and Plus 44. And then Angels and Airwaves as well. Those were all the most formative bands for us, and they were all that sort of Mark and Tom verse. And from there, like Vinny said, then it was working backwards a lot to the older music like Depeche Mode and The Cure, and
which influenced bands like Blink a lot. Like Mark's favorite band is The Cure, and then Tom loves Depeche Mode. So it's like it's that thing where it's we're just influenced by the same people that they had. So it's
working our way up the family tree essentially, like the influences of the influences and so on and so forth. And then beyond that, the other probably most formative thing that wasn't a band was just Danny Elfman scores for us growing up. Just those are all our favorite movies, or like all the Tim Burton movies, and just all the different ones too, because there's such a, even within that niche genre of gothic Danny Elfman score, there's such a variety of these scores. Like if you look at Batman '89 versus Corpse Bride, like they're very, very different things. And, so it was just listening to those over and over again.
I mean, we're quite nerdy, so it helps.
So the sort of like studying those as well as the bands we were enjoying at the time, that definitely brought us to where we are today. And when we were younger, because of where we live in the circles we were in, we didn't get to find a lot of the smaller bands at the time, but we're fortunate enough to do that now. So it's very cool because we'll have moments where we find, I mean, some of these bands that we find now, like, would be shocking to people, like, oh, you haven't heard them before. And to us, like, we were listening to a couple Block Party albums for the first time ever this year. So like these things, and I know they're a huge band, and we knew, a couple songs of theirs, but like, just when you're young, you don't necessarily have the ability to go, especially like here. Our record stores or CD stores when we were younger, that was like Best Buy for us. Like it wasn't, go to your
local store.
Because HMVs stopped being a thing here when we were like 7 years old or something like that. Like they just went out of business here in Canada. So we're fortunate enough to hear all these cool bands, sort of catch up on decades of cool bands, of some of the smaller bands too.
Sometimes we're meeting them in person for the first time too. And then you listen and you're like, oh, this is good too.
So that's really cool. Yeah.
It's I mean, the great thing about music is it lives forever, especially now on the internet. It's easy to discover stuff, and like, I don't know, there's no shame in when you discover a band. You discover it when you discover it. It's like, It's awesome. It's like, it's still there for you. Like,
Yeah.
The album's out next Friday, end of year release. I imagine that's nothing in your control. That's just kind of label politics, but how do you feel about kind of a end of the year release?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we were aiming for a late fall release, and then because of the legalities behind label things releases, that portion of our lawyer and the SharpTone lawyer communicating a very long time, which was unbeknownst to us. We had no idea how that process would look, and apparently it was done quickly in relation to like the standard according to our management. So we were like, okay, cool, but we were like, oh, we have a couple of months to go because we had wrapped the EP like in June. We were like, oh, we have a couple of months to go, we'll be fine. And then once that legal part was done, we were like, oh, there's no way this is happening. And we were just so lucky to have the team at SharpTone. The turnaround time that they put in place for us is ridiculous. They took like a 2-week notice to make everything for us happen, to keep us on track for an end of the year like release. And
originally the EP wasn't even supposed to be a part of the deal. It was just, then we were like, "You guys want this too? It's done." They were like, "Let's do it. Let's go."
Nice.
Everything.
Yeah, and because we were just this EP to us is our favorite work of ours. It's our best work so far, and we were really eager to get as many eyes on this EP as possible, many ears, I guess. And so having SharpTone wanting to be a part of that release was just so lovely, and they literally performed miracles to make this happen this year for us, which was awesome because in our heads this felt like something we needed out as soon as possible. This felt like the next step for us. We put out a lot of singles, but we needed a piece of like a collected work, even if an EP and not an LP. We just wanted a small collection of songs that you could listen to front to back. And being able to make it happen this year was just a dream. And with SharpTone especially, which have been the kindest to us, like everything sort of fell into place, and I think everything happened as it was meant to. And
and I feel like going into the next year, it's like we're gonna have people have a better idea of what a collective work of art might look like, and it's I think that we got a lot of different sounds into a very small amount of songs, which is really nice. But yeah, it's more like it's a collective work while also almost being like a preview into what a full length might look like, which is cool. So it's like, here's at the end of this year, it's like, here's a collective work after a very long, big year with a lot of changes. And we were starting the next year with this nice, almost fresh start of like, here we are, a band that can put out collective pieces and do this thing. And we're excited to show you more stuff going into next year, so.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of have that EP as an introduction,
Exactly.
It's like you're not asking people to invest too much of their time, but it's just like, hey, here we are, like be on the lookout.
This is who we are, and we hope you like it,
Yeah. Speaking of next year, what's the plan for 26? I imagine, that is the focus.
So for 26, it's really just about playing more cities now. Now that we did get our first, we dipped our toe in the pool for the States, and we're able to go play a couple lovely cities there. Now it's just about going back, playing other places we haven't played, growing as much as we can in that sense. It's really nice to get our live performances out there, because just being from Canada, even though we've done a lot of runs here, it didn't feel necessarily legitimate. It was just starting to be like, I know some people in the States, which is most people that listen to us are in the States. So it was like, oh, are these guys like some sort of internet band, or do they play live? And so to be able to have those experiences with people and having people come up to us and be thrilled with hearing us live was really nice, because it was like, all this stuff that we do, we can do live, and we love to do it live. We just haven't had the opportunity to do so. And so going forward, being able to do that more, reach new places, see new people. That's the plan. That plus the album. Right now we're writing the first LP, and just getting that done and out there and getting it done right, I think those are our two priorities for 2026.
Nice, awesome. Well, anything else you want to say about the band or the EP before I let you guys go?
I mean, for EP, I think really speaks for itself. It really it's as us as it gets. You'll be able to hear all of our influences in it for sure, and sort of draw those threads between some of our songs and some of the bands we've spoken about today. And yeah, this is as Second Harbor as it gets. I think this is the next step in our progression logically, and it's just we're really excited to have been able to take it, and we're more proud than we can say about it. So give it a listen, and then if it's not for you, then I don't think it will ever be for you. And if it is for you, then
I mean, at the same time, though, I do feel like there's a little bit of something for everyone in this. Which
I do,
is
yeah.
really that range, So
I'm fairly confident that if you do give it a real honest listen, that
you'll find something.
Most people will find something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you don't like Relative, just wait. The next song is a little different.
yeah. It says that's the thing. I do feel like we were able to get both our heaviest sound and our softest sound on the same EP, which is really lovely because there's a song like Coalesce that you can show your grandmother and she might be able to appreciate it, and then a song like I'm Half Sick of Shadows is probably more appreciated by the fan of the the niche genres like the post-hardcore.
Yeah, like John's not here, but he would definitely like speak up about that because he's more of a hardcore and metal guy. So for him, like a song like I'm Half Sick is just like that's his song.
Yeah. So I think when you said that there will be a thing for most people, and for fans of our genre or our band already, I think this will be just a whole new world, in the words of Aladdin. I think, yeah, I think it's a very cool step, and we're very proud of it. So,
nice.
Yeah,
awesome, guys. What's your favorite Metallica record? What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh my God, great. Okay,
this is gonna be.
I'm gonna be. Yeah, the most blasphemous thing you'll ever hear. I'm the biggest fan of Saint Anger, and everybody hates me for it, and it's fine. I'm proud to say so. I think it's their best record throughout in terms of like consistency. I think that record just is the most listenable throughout. But they don't necessarily have my favorite songs on there, but I think it's the best record.
Okay,
piece
I would say I think if they not even messing with the snare, if they just mixed James's vocals differently, gave it some reverb, lowered it, that record's fine.
I think the raw vocals, I've never been a fan of any band putting like raw vocals really. I think it's like mix them a little bit, like you need it, but
fix that, and I think that record's fine. I listen to it once a year.
Yeah, there you go.
So I think in terms of songwriting, I agree with you both, whereas I think it's the best songwriting.
Yes, that's it's more from a musician's perspective where I'm like I get what they were trying to do, and I think they did it well. I think it's just that for a lot of people it threw them off because it doesn't feel as much like Metallica, but it's like for what they were trying to achieve, I think they did it really well. Like I think they went out to do something, and that's what they did, and it turned out great in my opinion.
And I'm a little emo boy, so for me, the obvious pick is episode 3, because if I'm a prequel, just because of I in watching the Clone Wars show as well, that my favorite thing really is about the fast-paced, just lightsaber fights, the very just eye candy, like that's my thing. So the prequels are my thing, and especially the emo third episode, just of like, oh my God. Funny enough, if anybody that's listening has made it to the end here, and if any fan of ours is listening at the end here, they can hear in our song "Morning Dove." This I didn't think I'd ever say this ever, but the song "Morning Dove," there as soon as it sort of kicks in the first pre-chorus, and there's like a scream of like "How could you?" I was directly inspired by that. That was one of the later songs we were writing for the EP. We went to see episode 3 screened in theaters again on my birthday, which is May 5th, and which was right after May the 4th. And we were able to see that, all 3 of us together, and it was like a late night screening too. And when Anakin yells, "I heard you," it's like it planted a seed in my brain.
If you listen to the note, it's actually so close.
So then I took that and I did the "How could you?"
It's
the same. So yeah, for a Star Wars fan, it is pretty funny, and it's a song. Morning Dove's a song about the terrible relationship with a now dead relative, and to use a Star Wars Easter egg in there, it was just the funniest thing to me. But that's really where it came from. So yeah.
Nice. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to that as soon as we call and see if I can hear that. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for hanging out and chatting today. I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much,
man. And yeah, thanks for having us. This was a lovely time, and thank you for everything.
Yep. You guys have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks.